What's going on, everybody? My name is Whye. I am currently an artist, a musician, a good friend of James, and a rapper of LIV'N brand till the day I die.
Yeah, well, appreciate you being here. And thanks for being part of this.
No doubt.
So we're just gonna hop right into it. So, talk about a time or a story or a moment where you kind of struggled with your mental health and silence, where you felt kind of alone in that realm.
Yeah, I think that's something that people struggle with on a daily basis, but a story that I can remember vividly was after graduating from college. I kind of got caught up in the rat race of life, right? I graduated, ended up getting the house, ended up starting my job and my career. And, I was going down that path and realized that I hit a point where I didn't feel fulfilled in a lot of ways. I felt like I was doing everything that I was supposed to be doing, quote unquote, right? But I really wasn't doing anything that I wanted to be doing, right? So I really didn't know who I was. And backstory, I played football in college, and when you do something for so long, that's a part of your identity. It becomes a part of who you are, and then you can't do that thing anymore. You can't, introduce yourself as a musician or as an artist or as a athlete or something like that. You can't, introduce yourself to people as that. You can't tie your identity to that thing anymore. It takes a part of you, and I had a low point in my life to where I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what I wanted to be doing. I didn't know what my purpose on earth was. And it was a real dark place for me for a while. But that was, 10 years ago, something like that, whenever I graduated. So that was probably the lowest point that I hit in life.
Yeah, I got you. So in that moment, and when you were dark and depressed and sad, how did you what were some thoughts that were across your mind, and how did you cope with that in that moment?
Yeah. Again, it was just a lot of thinking, what is my purpose here? What am I meant to be doing, right? And what do I want to be doing? I don't think I ever asked myself really, what I wanted to be doing. I think I just kind of went along the path of least resistance of what everybody else was doing, what you're supposed to do, right? You're supposed to graduate from college, you're supposed to get a good job, you're supposed to get the white picket fence house, right? The 2.5 kids, or whatever the case may be. But I don't think anyone ever really sits down and really thinks about what would make them genuinely happy in life. At least we don't do it often enough. And so I quit my job. I started really thinking about the things that would bring me happiness. I started coaching. I started, pursuing entrepreneurship and started doing some things that were kind of outside of the spectrum of what I thought was even, possible for me. I challenged myself, and I kind of reshaped who I thought I was supposed to be, right? And I kind of got rid of who I was supposed to be and just kind of turned into who I wanted to be. I stopped really caring about what other people thought about me and that sort of stuff. But it was a lot of internal work. I read a lot of books during that time, listened to a lot of podcasts, and just kind of educated myself on things. And so I think that helped a lot.
Yeah, no, that's super powerful. So even I guess today, when you deal with those kind of negative emotions that come up, do you feel like you have to deal with that alone?
I think there's a part of me that does. I think we have this. I'll speak for myself. I think I have a bad habit of thinking that I should go through things on my own because I don't ever want to put a burden on somebody else, right? I always felt like I'm the one that people come to when they have issues that they're going through. So I don't necessarily want to put my burdens on anyone else because I know that, everyone's going through their own personal things on a daily basis. So I definitely do sometimes feel like I struggle alone, but I think that that's kind of my own doing, to where if I just reached out and asked somebody for help, that they would be willing to help me during those times.
Yeah, no, I feel that for sure. And so in those moments, what would make you feel less alone when you're kind of stuck in your own head and your own mind?
Yeah. I have a really good friend group, a really good support system. So I do have good friends that do check in on me like you. And they genuinely ask, how I'm actually doing, to to where, we see people on a daily basis always like, oh, what's up, bro, how you been, and we check on people, but we don't really like care about the answer 9 times out of 10. But I have a really good support system where they do check on me mentally and how I'm doing. So I think that definitely helps, but I think it's important to reach out to people, to ask for the help that you need, because people, again, are going through their own thing and they're not going to know unless you tell them, right? I think doing that internal work is important. I think that, reading, one thing that's helped me a lot is meditation. I've learned that, from my personal experience, you can't really have a feeling or an emotion. You can't really hit those lows without a thought attached to it. So whenever I was in my deepest, darkest moments, I took a step back and realized that I was always thinking about things that were going wrong. I was always thinking about how much money I didn't have, or the job that I didn't have, or the girl that doesn't like me, or whatever. So when you can kind of transform your thoughts and start, thinking about things that you're grateful for, and start thinking about the things that you do have, I think that kind of helps bring you out of that place. So.
Yeah, no, I feel it. And so in today's society, anxiety and depression are two of the most common things that people battle with, amongst other things, but those are kind of common ones. Do you find yourself dealing with either one of those on a daily basis? And if so, how does that affect your day-to-day life?
Yeah, honestly, I'm someone who struggles with anxiety on a daily basis, especially social anxiety. I am very uncomfortable in large gatherings of people. There's sometimes I'll go to the gym and I'll just be really nervous and anxious about things. I've learned how to battle through that, because I do a lot of things that require me to be around a lot of people at once. But I do struggle with that on a daily basis. I think everyone does, So again, it's just a matter of finding the things that work for you, and doing those as much as possible. Finding ways to get yourself in the right mindset. So whether that's exercise, for me it's music. If I'm ever in a really bad place, I'll just, pop on some music and listen to it, or I'll start making some music or something like that. But everyone's different, so you got to find what works for you.
Yeah, definitely. I know you mentioned previously, when you were at your darkest place, you were isolated and, kind of kept to yourself. So whether it be back then or even now, do you find it hard to reach out and ask for help when you need it the most?
Yeah, I still think I do, but again, I think that's kind of my own doing. I think that people are always sort of willing to help out when they have the capacity for it. I think that when you do ask someone for help, you kind of have to preface, the question, if you will, with are you in a capacity to hear what I'm going through currently? Because the worst thing is for you to be going something and then I dump all my shit on you. So I think it's important to kind of have an open line of communication. And just have people in your circle that you can really genuinely talk about things with, right? I think it's taboo of us to talk about those things in some cases, but when you really do have a close-knit group of people that you can actually have open conversation with, it makes life a lot easier.
Yeah, no, 100%. So, in general, why do you think it's hard for people to reach out when they are at their low points to others and ask for help?
Yeah, I think, at least for myself, again, it's just hard for me to want to put those burdens on other people. I think a lot of people don't know how to ask for help too. I think it's seen as a weakness if you ask for help. So I think people don't want to seem like they don't have it figured out, and we live in a society where you have to portray your best self at all times. On Instagram or social media, you have to be this well put together machine, right? You can never show people that you are going through something. You got to show the highlight reels of your life. And so when you ask for help, it's kind of showing that you're not perfect and that you do go through things. I don't think a lot of people, want other people to see them like that, which is hard.
Yeah, 100%. And so what kind of effect, if we all reached out to one another more, what type of effect do you think that would have on us as individuals and as a society?
I think the world would be a lot better place, man. I think that we can catch a lot of things that are going on with people if we just decided to reach out, I've had plenty of times where a well-timed, how you doing, was just exactly what I needed for that situation or that moment.
Right.
But imagine, all the things that people are doing in this world. They're killing each other. They're kind of just hurting, you know what I mean? And imagine if someone would just reach out and genuinely care about their well-being and how they're feeling, I think that we would prevent a lot of the things that are going on today if we just reach out to each other.
Yeah. How do you think that would affect you personally if like certain people reached out to you more and checked in more? How would that affect you?
I would feel great about it. I would feel like people have my well-being at heart. I would feel like, you know, someone cares about me enough to actually ask me what I'm going through and actually care about my response. So I would feel good. And like I said, I do have a good support system that they already do that. But I would encourage people to, you know, reach out more. I think I could do a better job of reaching out to my friends and family. And just even strangers, man. You walk past somebody on the street, just, hey man, how you doing? I've had plenty of times where, you know, someone's told me like, bro, the conversation that we had, I don't even know you, but the conversation that we had, you know, helped me get through some things I was going through, or just, you know, talking about sports or whatever, kind of helped me get through something I was going through for that day. So don't be afraid to ask for help, and then don't be afraid to ask others how they're actually feeling.
Right. And so, in saying that, why do you think, why is it so hard for us to reach out and check in on each other when like the thought crosses our mind or whatever? Like, why is that hard for us to do?
I think we're just busy. I think it has a lot to do with just making excuses and saying that you don't have the time, or it really takes 2 seconds to send a text to someone, say how you're doing, or pick up the phone and call somebody. I think we just make up excuses in our head of how busy we are, or, you know, we didn't have time for it, or whatever the case may be. But I think you make time for the things that are important to you. So if it is important to you, you'll find the time.
Yeah, no, 100%. And so, I mean, obviously you said, you know, you could personally be better at that. And yeah, we get busy and things get sidetracked and whatnot. And it's like, oh yeah, I was supposed to call, you know, such and such. And, you know, and then something happens and we get distracted. Like, is there anybody that you've been meaning like to reach out to or call lately, but you know, life kind of happened and you just kind of forgot? Is there anybody that kind of pops in your head right now?
Yeah, I'd probably say my family. I don't reach out to them as much. My family's all over the country, in New York, the East Coast, St. Louis, they're kind of all over. And, you know, we had some family matters that actually happened recently where, you know, had I reached out, we probably could have caught some of the stuff. So I would say I could do a better job reaching out to my friends and family, and being that, you know, that rock or that support system for them the way that they are for me. So, yeah.
Yeah. Is there anybody you'd want to call right now? Reach out?
Shit, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's see if they answer.
Yeah, you leave a voicemail if not. Put it on speaker.
I'm gonna call my big brother Justin.
Word.
I was just actually texting him the other day, so let me see. Alright. Hey, you got 2 numbers. Now I don't even know which one to call.
Please leave your message for 31.
Must not be that one. It might be at work. I'll leave him a message.
Yo,
My mans, what's up with you?
not much, man. How you doing?
Good. You going to work or what?
Yeah, I'm on my way to work right now.
All right. Well, I was just calling quick to check in, see how everything was going. I know we kind of talked the other day, but maybe me and you can get together this weekend if you got time, or next week.
We should definitely figure some shit out. But yeah, I'm kind of going through it right now. So.
Yeah. We'll get together and chop it up. But just want to let you know I'm proud of you, dog. Like, I know that things haven't been easy, but I know that you're doing the best that you can. I'm proud of you, man. So, me and you will
Yeah,
talk.
I appreciate that, man.
Yeah, me and you will talk when you get some time.
Word, hey, man, you know I love you, right?
I love you too, dog.
Hey, all right, man. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, man.
All right.
Bye.
Nice. So, how'd that feel?
Good. I know that he's been going through some stuff, so I hope that helped him. That's my dog, so something simple as just calling to say you're proud of somebody. I can tell it definitely helped him. So
yeah, 100%. Yeah. And, thanks for being willing to do that.
Yeah,
that's
no doubt.
It's powerful. I mean, obviously, you see the effect right there, so that's huge.
Yeah.
So as we kind of like wrap all this up, given the subject matter and topic of mental health and reaching out and just being there for each other and kind of all that encompassing, what message would you give to the world? The whole world's listening. It's all translated into all the languages, and so what would you tell the people?
I would say that life is kind of lived in the middle. We go through a lot of things in life. Sometimes we're super low, sometimes we're super high. But, the majority of the time of your time is going to be spent kind of in the middle, right? You're never going to be too high, you're never going to be too low. When you get too low, realize that doesn't last. When you get really high, realize that doesn't last. And a lot of your life is going to be lived in kind of this median area where that's where the peace is, right? Learn how to control your thoughts, or at least monitor your thoughts, and know that when you usually do get super low, it's usually because you're thinking negative thoughts, and you can get out of those situations by changing your thought process, by moving your body, by being active, and that reaching out to people really takes a second of your day to do, but it could really change the course of someone's whole life, just one simple phone call. So,
yeah, well said. Love it. Michael Whye, appreciate it.
Peace!